Hi everybody, I've got a new stream series for you. This time I'm showing my approach to creating a stylized plane in Modo, Substance Painter and Designer. For those of you who don't know me, I'm John, aka Graffiti, and I'm an environment artist with experience in both the animated film and games industries. As always, these videos are recorded live streams and therefore there's no music and each video is quite lengthy, so you might want to increase the speed of the video and put your own music on in the background. If you want to see me make stuff live, then please tune into my Twitch channel and you can follow me on Twitter for updates. If you have any questions about my process, then please comment below and subscribe for new videos in the future. Enjoy. So basically, I've had some time recently and I've done a bit more refining on this from last time, from the last stream. Basically just, I think at the end of the last one we added the kind of the darker bits in here, and then I did another pass on the metal and kind of the burning effects and kind of got a bit more of a kind of metal tinting going on, which I think works a lot better than the than what was happening before. And then I added some grease into the undercarriage. Oh, I also kind of detail stamped these elements just so there was a bit more detail going on in places. Plus I also didn't know what was in these holes, so yeah. So basically I want to do more kind of tie it more in with the concept, with the decals and stuff. I'll probably do maybe some shader work on these bits, because I still need to do the, I put some dirt and stuff in the cockpit, but I still need to sort out the leather, the wood, the dials. Really, we could, have a crack at that tonight as well. And then if there's time, have a look at getting these, some kind of environment set up for these, which would be really awesome. Weird. So there's a little thing. So there's a mask there. And it's on that one. There we go. Sweet. Yeah. So I might make a little note of that. So don't forget. Okay. So. Fabric, leather, dials, and then I also need to do the decals and camo. So I thought with the camo it would be good to do pick some plane types, so maybe American plane, like World War II. I'm thinking like a Spitfire, what they called. Corsair, like a Messerschmitt, and a Japanese fighter plane as well, just because very distinctive colour schemes, and it means that I can have this in multiple scenarios and it's not just the same one over time. So yeah. Banana! Who'd have thought, eh? Cruiser? Oh, banana! As in a banana, shit. Texture. Covered in bananas. Is that because I suggested you to do bananas? Way back when. Yeah? Well, I'm trying to keep it in, tied to the concept, but, like I was, when I was first doing this, I was experimenting with, like I made a camo shader in Substance Designer. This is probably a bit much, but you get the idea. And then can have like a nighttime one, and then there was this one, a bit overkill, and this one, which is quite cool. So basically I just want to do different versions with different insignia and kind of and go from there really, just because I think it will look cool to have variance with not that much extra work. But yeah, quite just like the red, really. Might be an idea actually if we just duplicate this, duplicate layers, and we have this base color as this blue. Go for a save already. Fit this a bit more because I know in the concept it doesn't have a undercoat paint, but I just thought it might be quite nice to include one. But I mean, obviously we can just turn all this off as well. Yeah, using Substance for my uni project in September. Oh well. What's stopping you from using it now? It's really good. I mean, I haven't used Substance Painter for a while, but this is proven to be really good. Well, good for, you know, getting back into it. Right, so I've spent enough time waffling. Those have been cooked out, so if I get my reference library back open and do some importing, add resources, designer maps, U2. And pull these both as textures into this project. Cool. So now I want to get a layer for stamping. So I want this to be concept insignia. Cool. And we need to move this guy maybe down here just so that's kind of quite out of the way. And then alpha we want to be that. Why won't that work? Create a character and an environment based on a book called Ink Mage by Victor somebody. Copy or paste. Okay, cool. One thing I would say though, how long have you got to, yeah, any advice? Yeah, I've got some advice for you. How long have you got to do the project? I haven't used stencils yet. Oh, I'm not sure if this is a good idea. I was hoping I could just drag it into the alpha there, but base color, don't need any of those. Hold this up. It takes the whole thing. Right. That's not what we want. So I do want to do a stencil. Now, how the piss do I do that? Because I haven't done that yet. Let's get off that stencil onto that. Cool. So we move this now. How do we... Because this is the one thing that I don't really like about this. So what if instead of these, I just import them individually? That's probably going to be better. So let's turn stencil off and go back to designer and then just plug these separately. Oh, come on. So really I want this one to base colour, this one to there. Yeah, okay, so if if we do export that. Yeah, save all. And I'm going to have to just rename them as we go, I think. Ooh, hold on. What if we just duplicate this graph, copy, paste, cool, okay. Got this one, and let's delete this whole bottom row because we don't need it, and come up here. Oh shit, now this stuff we probably don't need, we just drag this back. Okay, and then we call this concept 1. Export bitmaps. And then this one, we do the opposite. So we get rid of all this. Shit! Why on earth would it crash then? Anyway, okay, so project finishes at Christmas, just got started. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to say, did I just save any of that? Probably not, but maybe if we reload these, there we go. Yeah, piss, right, anyway, we'll deal with that in a minute. So first of all, what I would say is, if you, I don't know if you've, you're aware, I mean, I haven't really been shouting it from the rooftops, but you might want to use my planning document, which I'm just getting for you now. Bear with me. Okay, here we go. So, this, okay. So that might help you look at your time overall. Now, there's only 3 boxes for your months, but what you could do is, just grab an old calendar from the internet and work it out on a bigger scale. Just because if you can work out how much time you can give to what you're making, it's going to really influence how much you can make, and comfortably make in a time period as well. And I'm talking about like time period where you're actually working. So for me, it's 3 hours, Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's my work time. So it's, when you put down, say, 8 hours, is that 8 hours solid, or is it better to do 6 hours with some breaks, that kind of thing? I personally, okay, so the other thing is that is good to know at this stage is, what do you want to go into? Like, do you see yourself more as a character artist, or do you see yourself more as an environment artist, or do you see yourself as a prop artist? If you had to choose a path now, which one would you go down? Because that's quite an important question, and that's going to influence what you're doing as well. So I want to I'll do a stencil here. How do I need the help up again? So that's the hardness of the brush. That's the rotation. How the piss do we change the scale of things? Doesn't do anything. I know it's somewhere in here. See any of these? Nope. Hey Automech, hey Nick. Have you timed your sessions, let's call them, for when I'm online? Actually, Nick, you might know the answer to this. How on earth do I change the stencil size in this viewport? I would say more of an environment artist, but I would like to create this character since I got permission off the author. Right. Okay, I'm just going to sidetrack momentarily. Don't worry about asking for permission for stuff. You know, that sounds really harsh and like a big no-no, but as long as you're crediting people's work at the end, then it's no biggie. Zoom in. Yeah, and what I mean, curious, is that I don't really want to zoom in, you know, because I can't actually see what it looks like on the overall thing if I just stamp it now. And I'm sure there is a way. I'll just, you know, I don't know, I'll just use this. Online documentation. Let's look at this together. I want to do stencil. Projection. Okay, here we go. S, that's what it is. You hold down S. Brilliant. Oh, can I turn off the tile? How do I do that? Yeah, this is more like it. Although I wish it wasn't so, what do you call it, tightly together, but not the end of the world. Okay, so we're on the right layer. S, oh sweet Jesus, yes. It's weird though, pressing S. Okay, so it's probably a bit bigger than that. I suppose it tiles so that it, you know, feels better. Yeah. Yeah, that's it, Automech. Pencil. How do you make it into pencil? Into a brush. Ah, okay. So if I create a brush preset, see, it kind of just comes out like this. Don't know if you can see it. So it's putting the stencil over the alpha. Yeah. So just to go back to Cruiser quickly, I know that like if you're wanting to make things, don't wait for someone to you know, get back to you. I'm curious, it won't go into the alpha. I've given that a go. Sorry, I know I'm getting distracted now. Insignia, so if I drag it on, it doesn't want to go on the alpha. Which is really weird because I would have thought they're the same thing unless if I import them again, can I... so if I import them as an alpha, that'll do it. So now, instead of using stencil, so let's get rid of that, I can then drag this onto base color and this onto the alpha. There we go. Solved! Such low quality. Yeah, so that'll do it. And then just rotate this. Maybe maybe bring it forward a little bit. Seems a little bit better actually, yeah. Great work, Curious. Quite like it over the edge like that. I just need to rotate it so it's what, 13 degrees. Like so, and then it's, where is it? It's just shy of that. Ugh. How close is it to the other? So quite close. Boom. We're cooking with gas now. Right. Jam Noon, hello. Okay, right, I'm not going to get distracted this time. Wait, hold on, Cruiser, I haven't finished yet. But basically, all I wanted to say was, if you're asking permission from somebody to use something, just start your work anyway, the permission will come. And also, this guy's put this image out there, so kind of, in a way, it's fair game, just credit the artist at the end. When you publish it, say, oh, I'm using this concept, but the concept was drawn originally by XYZ. So in my case with this plane was made by a concept artist at work called Ian Thowdy. When I'm finished with it, I'm going to tag his ArtStation in my post, so we all win. I was talking to some guys at work about this the other day. If you're always waiting for somebody else to approve what you're doing, or not approve it, but you have permission to do it, you'll end up not doing anything ever. So having permission's fine, but don't let it stop you from actually starting. And even if they say no, you can't, what are you going to do? Are you going to stop working on it, or are you just going to do it? Just do it. What you were saying was that you were leaning towards being an environment artist, I think. So you've got to weigh up how long the character will take and how long the environment will take. Obviously, the character's going to be wearing clothing, they're going to have props or items on them. How are you going to do that? Is it going to be all zebra sculpted, or are you going to use Marvelous Designer or that kind of thing? Are you just doing the model, or are you doing the UVs? Are you baking high to low? Are you doing the texturing? That all takes time. I would say if you wanted to do a character, like you could split it, if you've got now until Christmas, so that gives you 7 months. So you could do 3 months on each thing. That's how I would do it. So if you did 3 months on each thing, that gives you time to take breaks, go on holiday, do other things other than working. It also gives you a month extra if things go wrong, or you want to do final tweaks at the end. That's how I would do it. And I'd also look at with the environment, how complicated is it? Are you is it going to be like foliage intensive, or is it based on a concept? Is it based on something in your own head? How many assets are there? I would say do make an environment smaller and better rather than really big with not as much quality. But really plan your time out, and if you can do as much pre-production as possible, gather all the reference that you'll need, work out which bits you like, which bits you don't like, kind of look at the shapes of things, do some proxy models, do some tests, do some blocking out, that kind of thing. Because the more time you can put into the beginning of the project on working stuff out, the easier it's going to be at the end when you're kind of losing your mind and realising that you don't have enough time and blah blah blah. So that's what I'd say, but I don't know if you're in the Discord, you probably are, but post your progress, it'd be great to see it, and I can give you advice as you go as well. Yeah, so we're back, right, we're back doing planes. So yes, Jammy's in here. Are you working on your, you must be working on the Wild West environment. I need to change this. Copy, paste. What did I call it? Did I just call it insignia? Concept insignia. Tell you what, let's make this easier. Let's do that. Let's copy that and paste it. Do this T1, save it, go into the T1, delete this whole top shelf, and delete that bit there, delete them, plug in one, plug in the other. Base color and alpha, good, and we want to export these, not there, into substances, designer maps, and then we grab these as well, and set them as alphas, import. Cool. And then we'll drag these. Wait. I suppose it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so in here, I'm aware that the font doesn't completely match up. I guess we can always paint over these if need be. Need to re-angle this. Maybe make it a bit bigger. Yeah, it's not too bad. Let's just maybe move it away from the screw a bit more. Cool. Oh, I'll tell you what. No, I need to do it from both sides. Oh. And what's this rotated to? 6. Cool. So 294. No. 3, 5, 4. There we go. How high is this? Oh, just a little bit off it. Yeah. Cool. And then I also want to do, so on the wing, there's a stamped down pattern, so we've got alphas and sig, there we go. Now can I, so we'll do that, so if I kind of need to invert it then, don't I? No. So I need to get rid of just the white, or just cut out the alpha. Or what if I drag that onto there? Yeah, so I do need to probably do a new one. That's fine. Yes, cruise all, yeah, just whack it in the art general thread. Sculpting the main rock tonight, I'm gonna move on to foreground when you get bored. Sounds like a great plan. Okay, let's get rid of all this shit. Don't need that. Be good to save that. Get rid of this. This. Ooh. Okay, so we've got that in there. So we could just get a new base colour out for this, which would be quite good. So what if we just do that? Well, it looks like it fits the bill. Actually, no, it doesn't, because we need to do that. Then we actually also need to invert it. There we go. Hopefully I won't have those lines. I guess though, split it, oh yeah, no, that would be fine. Edge detect, text. Yeah, it'll be fine. Because even if I just have the alpha, which is solid, and that's all I need really. So actually I only need the alpha out, because I can just put the base colour as black. Yes! Export outputs of bitmaps, and also I need to change okay, well none of them are called that, so opacity only, yes, not that graph. Braille, drag that onto there, turn this off, make sure it's black. Yeah! God, I love it when a plan comes together. Although what I might do is stamp it on the UVs instead, because they're going to be flatter. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we need to angle this the right way round. Ish. Yeah, and it needs to be a lot bigger. Might help as well if we stamp this. No, bugger. Right, oh well. Should have seen that coming. Maybe just rotate it ever so slightly. Okay, 3, 5, 7. Sort of in line. Is it worth putting it on the underside? I don't really know. I mean, maybe. 3. Looking good. Just noticed as well on the plane there's some kind of normal detail here, so I'll just throw that in quickly. Stephen Verks, how you doing? Haven't seen you in a while. What have you been up to? Right, so in here I want to get panel detail, panel edge in. Actually, I might do this on another layer. Get rid of that alpha. Let's do it on the height. I want to go in. Right, what do I need? I need another alpha. In fact, you know what I might do first? I might just use this. See what it looks like. Is that deep enough? I think it might be deeper. Too deep. Anyway, what if we use something like this and rotate it? Oh, it's this thing. Right, okay. Yeah, this is what's kind of annoying sometimes, is that it won't stamp unless the brush tip, the middle, is on the model, which I can understand why they do it, but it just means that you can't really stamp off grid and just catch the edges of things. Let's put that in the outfit. Why is this? Oh, it's the same thing. Right. So really, I need to make my own alpha. Oh. Actually, what I did last time could work. Is there a block? Yes. But I want to be able to... Yeah. Bugger. Well, I think just work out, when you can and can't work, and then just go from there. I wouldn't, penalise yourself for must work every day. It's good to take breaks. Aha! This is sort of what I'm talking about. Eesh. But not really. Actually put mirror on as well, so I don't have to keep redoing this. And then concept wise, I suppose it can be more in the middle. Okay, and then we'll do the same on the underneath. Just kind of hopefully get this right. Yeah, looks all right. And then we do the magic trick of you get a slightly smaller one. Ah, shit, I've done it the wrong way. After all that, I did it the wrong way around. Should be minus 0.1. Okay, and then we go back round. Like so. And then here's where the magic happens. We go back to 0 and go down a brush size, and then we stamp again. What? Mind blown. And that is how we get round making a custom stamp. Although we'll see how well this works. It will work really well on something else, but might not do the same here. Do with size going down to maybe 14. Maybe a bit smaller. 13.8. Tiny bit. Yeah, that'll do. So then we just come around and stamp it on the other side. Boom, and there we go. And that's on both sides. Brilliant. Okay. It could probably be a bit deeper, but sod it. We don't need it to be. Cool. It might be quite cool if there's some kind of sun bleachness to the ship, to the plane. Wing panel mid. This needs to be add. Yeah, that'll be fine. Cool. Okay, so let's get rid of them. I don't need to work for like 4 hours every day. Like every 30 minutes could help. Currently doing an internship, so I don't have a lot of time. Ooh, what's your internship? Where are you for it? Is this like a 3D one? I'm hoping. You know, getting on the way, getting on the ladder. Ah. 3D art intern at Force Field VR. Ooh, very nice. Let's give them a Google. How long have you been there? What kind of things are you working on? I'm guessing it's a game. Please don't play the video. Kill my stream. Right, I'm gonna check that out afterwards because that looks awesome. Along with the thing that Gumroad is doing. Right, what am I doing? Decals camo. Well, there's not very many more decals on this. Maybe on these bits I need to have the 77 as well. Right, 77 on these, so we do need this layer, and we want to have 77 in the line art. That would be the wrong information I just did there. Anyway, it's a colour only. There we go. And where are we on this grid? Here. Although I'm going to have to stamp it in the viewport. Fair enough. And it only needs to be small, so it's pretty cool. In fact, that's how I can scale that quicker. Maybe just leave these actually, like so. I mean, I quite like the small ones. Maybe a little smaller. They're a little pixelated. I mean, you don't notice, do you? 34, so that's 626. Or not, because it's not facing the right way. Piss. I suppose as long as it's lovely. I think I'll put it on the underneath as well. Okay. Some nice little stamps there. Lovely. Cool. Okay, so I'm just going to do a list. See, decals done. Cool. Right, now I need to. Oh, excuse me. It'd be good if there was some kind of metal bleaching, but I do need to do the other materials first. So we could do the leather first, perhaps. Started in February, still July. I worked on 2 unannounced projects, primarily as a prop artist, asset kits, props, vehicles, that kind of stuff. Can you use all of that in your portfolio when you're done? Because that'd be pretty cool. Right, dial, leather. Okay, so I do want a layer in here. Just a generic layer, and also good to save this before it monumentally crashes. We want the height and the normal, and we want the height to be down a bit. Okay, lovely, that's what we're talking about. Maybe a bit more. Maybe a bit less. Okay, now there's some like little bands on this, so could do with a stamp I had before. Maybe this one, because I can change the. Let's first put the angle back. No, that's not going to work. Actually, I need the minus. Maybe that will do it. Or if not, this will do it. Yeah, that will do it. Rotate to 90 degrees. Yeah, that's cool. Hardness upsize, yeah, that's fine. Just Lee, thank you for the follow. Feel free to chime into chat if you've got any questions or what have you. Yeah, really appreciate that. So let's mark out where these are. So that's down here. Could maybe be thinner. First of all, turn up the flow. Turn down the spacing. It's probably better. Yeah, and we can always fill that in. So what if we just, oh shit, wrong way. Tell you what, let's put it to a number that's actually a decent number. Okay, we put it back to 0. Cool, that's way better. Much prefer that. Step it up. Okay, so now, so it splits and then there's another one and there's some more at the end as well. So we go all the way down here. And so that's going to make no difference. Okay, so these are both in the same place about here. Maybe a bit higher. No, about maybe there. Zero again. Cool. And then minus 0.5. Just started using Substance not long ago, and I love it. Yeah, trying to do stylized textures myself, but find it's not easy. I'll post an image of one I've done today, something just not right about it. Cool, let me, I'll tell you what, let's just get that open. Ooh, I'll tell you what. It's quite zoomed out. Can you zoom further in to the head of the axe? And can you also put the environment to turn the environment off, as in the opacity of the environment? Just make it much easier to see what we're looking at. Tiny request, I know, but it will help. Trust me. Okay, so that's where they are. It's kind of annoying that they are on the same bit. What if I make that 0? Yeah, sure, take your time. Put this back to 0. Cool, there we go. Cooking with gas. And then 2 bits at the end, which will be down here. So, no, typical. That's at this end, and then the one's at the other end. You can also export to Sketchfab and delete it afterwards. There is a direct exporter in SourceSpain. Oh, I didn't know that. size, and now I can't get it back to what it was. That's the one annoying thing about Substance Painter sometimes, is sometimes it's all just too arbitrary. Cool. And then that will be down this end. Cool. Yeah, quite like that. Right, let me just get these two stamps and I will have a look at it. I'll just give me one moment. Now this might be a different scale, so let's just up this. Doesn't look as deep as the others. I suppose it doesn't need to be. Oh shit. Yeah, that's fine. And then one towards the end. Closer. Maybe somewhere like that. And there we go. Some extra detail, which is quite nice. And there's a little bit on the end of that, on the end of these two, so we might do them as well. Oh shit. Those are those bits. Okay, so I don't want those bits, I want those bits. They are up here. 90. Okay, so that's, oh, there we go, that's the bottom one. Nice. One, two, three. 0. There we go. Some subtle detail to help break up the surface. That doesn't look great. Maybe on the, what happens if we, oh, that's annoying. It's not completely. leave it. Don't feel like it really looks like leather at the moment, but we will change that. Okay, so that's height detail, I suppose. Yep. So, question, do you make your high poly first or low poly? Well, it depends. So, okay, so on this project, I blocked out the shape, and then I retopologized it to make my low, and then I made my high from my low. But I think in the future I will make the high first and then retopologize the high so that it's low. And my reasoning is that doing the low high route is fine for something like this, because I've got a lot of the, all these rivet details, all the paneling, that's been done in Substance Painter. That's not in the high-res bake. But I would say with curved surfaces, so it's very apparent around this rim here that I need more geometry in it. So I kind of wish I'd either put more geometry in the low, or if I was working off the high, it would already have enough geometry in it. It depends what's faster. So I use Modo for, I'm modelling Modo, so I made the plane in that, and then I made the high res assets in that as well, and then just exported them and baked them in here. But it depends how elaborate your high res is. So say if you're doing like a sculpted model in ZBrush, then it's going to be better for you to do the retopology of the low from the high in ZBrush, just because, well, not necessarily in that program, but if you've got loads of stuff going on, then that won't get picked up in the low, depending on how low your low is. Hope that wasn't too confusing. But yeah, it depends what you're comfortable with. It depends on what you, how much time you have. So I didn't make a high. So I think in future, if I was going to do this kind of thing again, I'd probably use ZBrush to get all the shapes down. But the problem is I don't know how to do hard surface stuff in ZBrush, so that will take a lot of time because I'll have to learn it and do it at the same time, and that can be frustrating sometimes. The concept for this is quite stylized, so and you can see it's quite, it doesn't need to be that high res, so therefore I haven't made it that high res, and that's why I just did it with polygonal modeling in Modo, and you can't really tell the difference. So really it just comes down to what you need to do, like what it is that you need to get out of it, and what's fastest, and what you're going to learn from it, and etc, etc. I'm going to do the speedometers now because I need to do that. Speedometers. Plain. Old. I might do a pressure gauge or something. Let's see what comes out of this. Skip this. Right. I could do with some plain ones if I'm honest. What's on CG textures? Is that CG textures? Yeah. Great. None. Are you kidding me? Oh man, decals. No. Various. Okay, well, various is pretty nondescript, isn't it? And I don't think we're going to find it in here. Type in dials. Okay. Five things. Yeah, that's not It's not going to work for me. Ooh, hello. So that's the kind of thing I'm looking for, just not with images on them. Those could work. I'm going to open that in a new tab and I'm going to search. This might kill the stream, sorry if it does. Large. It's interesting. Lovely detail. What I might do? Nocturnal Blockout, thank you for the follow. Any questions anytime, keep them coming. Right, I think I am going to, make some of these. Okay, so let's copy this image. Actually, no, let's not paste it here. It's a bit of a workaround. Save image as, not in there, reference. Okay, let's open that up. Let's get rid of this. Actually, let's not get rid of that. Okay, right, I'm just going to do... God, the Windows Viewer thing is so shit. Right. Why did they change that? Open with photo viewer, that's the one I want. Cool, okay, now we can go in. Okay, I'm going to make these very quickly, hopefully in Designer, because you know, that would be great. It's weird that, you know, those aren't in there anyway. Arnold1123, thank you for the follow. God, they're pouring in tonight. Pouring slash slow drip. Right, I need to move this image just out of the way for the moment because I don't need to have it on screen. Right, so let's do a new graph in here, substance graph, and we'll call this cockpit. Probably saving this in the wrong file. Probably let's just do a new one, new graph, cockpit dials. Q. Okay. So we've got a new thing, and okay, so we need a shape, and we need this to be a disk, and we need this to be around 0.9. I do need that image up though. If I move this over here, actually, how I do it normally. There we go, that's better. Cool, and then just scale this down. Basically, just want this. I know it's off screen at the moment, but hopefully it will make more sense as I do it. Yeah, okay, so let's do this one first. Okay, so thing around the outside, so let's do an edge detect, like so. And we want to invert that. Okay. And then around this, at different intervals, we want splatter circular. Okay. And we want to grab this, and we want to make this a square. 0.9. Yes, fine, I think. Leave it like that. We will transform it and make it thinner. In fact, while we're here, let's up this and make that absolute no tiling. And then we want to put this into here, and we want this to be image input. Yep, that looks good. Radius, let's move those out, and then let's blend both of these. Looks lighten, cool. What I might also do is put that into there, and then that means that this can have like so, and then make this thicker. Yeah, looks good. Maybe less patterns. 10, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9. Wow. 9. Cool. Yeah, and then we need to blacken out that bit in the middle. So if we get another transform, put this in here, rotate this, probably move it away, this way, 0. And then we want to blend this with this alpha. Also we want to invert this. Okay. And then 6 that. Cool, there we go. Really, this is really kind of primitive stuff, but gets the job done. And we're most of our way onto a dial now, which is pretty good going, and we've got an hour and a half left, so let's just keep that going. Okay, so right, 4, so we need some text. So text, we want this to be up. We'll just have it as Arial because, you know, whatevs. Or we could just make it something slightly better, I suppose. What's this look like? Yeah, sort of alright. Always scale it. Yeah, that'll be fine. We can just do that. Excellent. Right, well, that's sorted that one. Okay, so now we need to blend again. We just go in max lighten. And we also need to make this smaller. So I suppose this has got transforms in it already. That's pretty handy, that. We do need to do a needle as well at some point, so we can tie that in after, get a normal map on it as well, which would be pretty nice. Okay, so text again, and then this, in fact, let's just copy this one. Let's call this one, oh shit, 0, and this one's to be bold. Demi-bold? Yeah, I'll do. Okay. I'm probably putting more time into this than I need, but do like the authenticity, although, yeah, the 2s and 4s are going to be weird. Right, okay, so 2... So these are way off now, but there we go. Well, the 4 isn't, the 2 sort of is, but oh well. You're not going to be this close to it. I just need something there in case we have a shot in the cockpit. Okay, there's also an extra one of these. I'll just copy and paste that. Shit. This will need blending in. Oh, these two will need blending together. Say first. So if we do that to 1, I'll be able to be maybe a thinner. Ooh, what if I go back to here? I might do it. So into there, into there, into there. Max lighting now. This needs to move around. Ring amount. Nope. Angle. There we go. And then size. Maybe that one. Bring that out. Bring that in slightly and make it thinner. Just put that in there. Okay, yeah, that looks alright. What I will do though is just make this a little thinner. Probably too thin now. 0.04. Can't go wrong with that. So now that looks all good, like so. This blend takes out that bit. Yeah. so that's the base of that. So what I might do is like leave that till last. And then what have we got? We need to, I think like there's some normal information in this as well, which is nice. So there's 0, so basically we just need to blend everything. Oh, that's a blur. Blend everything. Blend. First of all, 0. Now it might be good. So if we get a transform on this and just move it down and then blend both of these. It should line up really. Blend, make this max lighten and then put that into here. Then we just move these into position. Move this into position. Ah, right, okay, that won't work because one's relying on the other. So let's get another transform. And then the same with number 4. Okay, and then we just move these over. Move this guy over. I think that the what you call it ends. I think this gap is bigger. In the reference, it definitely is bigger, but I'm going to leave it like that, I think. Because yeah, it doesn't need to be completely accurate. Okay, so there's number 2. There's number 4. And let's just run that information into a normal map. And this is DirectX, so that's fine. I also want to just blur this slightly so that I get a slightly stronger normal map. So, this probably doesn't need to be as intense. And I also want a normal flat colour. Or do I need one? I probably don't need one. So let's put this here. Or rather, put this into here. There we go. And maybe bring this down to 25. 0.5 will do it. Let's get rid of that. Oh, we also need the up information in as well. And that's be stretched slightly and then in this, just pull a let's not do that. Let's grab one of this. make this paraboiled, whatever it is. Then put this on some levels. Something like that. And this thing needs to come right down. Okay, cool. And then we need to blend this over this. Make this smaller. And let's just put that in there. So what I will do here actually is just bring the levels down, probably before that. So that goes there. Let's move this, get that over there. Okay, so then we've got that going on. So that's the pin. Center, and then we need, okay, so that's the main blend. That needs to go into there, which needs to go into there. So then this also needs to come down, like so. So now we have a bit more variation between the center and the edges, which you can see here. Okay, it's going okay. Oh, I haven't saved this yet. Yeah, best save it. Can't make dials. Version 1. Let's go to the wrong place. Yeah. Cool. But I'm watching about 15 minutes and I don't understand anything what you're doing right now. Have you used Substance Designer before? I mean, that would be the first thing I would go for on a question, because if you haven't used it, you probably don't know what I'm doing at all. This is a program for making textures procedurally, so what I mean by that is really quite quick and non-destructive. So if you need to go back to the start, you can. At no penalty. Okay, so this will be the pin. It's probably a bit thinner. Okay, cool. Actually, I won't use that. Just get a new one. needs to be a lot. This needs to be a lot thinner. And this needs to be a lot smaller. Okay. And then it's got a white end and a dark end. So we could split that. Yeah, that's not the end of the world, that's fine. So now I need a... how do I make this point? So probably with a squash spear. So if we get the same one, maybe something like that. There's our point. Just need to get it on the end of this now. Oh man, I've kind of forgotten how much I miss Substance Design. It feels like ages since I've used it. Okay, so this needs to come in slightly. Yeah, what would help is if this had no tiling. There we go. And also probably what if instead it's just curved, that's all. It's just thinking in shapes, that's the only issue. Let's move this that way, this way. Yeah, this will work. And then this thing we just put into a transform and bring this in slightly. So make sure that this isn't tiling. Cool. And might make this slightly smaller. There we go. Lovely. Great looking pin there. And then again, we need to blur this ever so slightly. Yeah, that's much better. That is how you make a pin. Hi Nick. Oh, you're back already, eh? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Okay, so this needs to be. I need a levels node on this, and it needs to be slightly grayer, but not as grey as this. So let's blend these two first. Yeah, and then max lighten. That's cool. And now we can make this slightly bigger. And we also need to move this. Just like 2/3 like that. Then we move that onto there. And let's also transform this. First of all, this needs to be a hell of a lot smaller. Just do that. So I need to move it to there and rotate it. Like so. Excellent. And this could probably afford to be slightly brighter. Cool. And there we go. Yeah, that's in. Looking cool. Quite happy with that actually. Okay, so let's just organise this a bit better. Needle. And let's get that save. Okay, so that's fine. So now let's just set up the rest of our things. So we need some roughness information, grayscale. Paste. It's probably all metallic apart from that area, so probably down like that. Metallic is uniform. What's that? Where's that? Output opacity. Help if it was called opacity. Why I'm labeling this, because I'm actually just going to delete it. Don't need it. Roughness metallic is in there, so actually this needs to go up to 1. Okay, so roughness. So I need the roughness for this. So blend this onto this. Rather not, that's not it actually. I need the base. That's the base. That's the opacity, which needs to come from here. So actually this is the other way around. Goes to there, that goes to there. And that's so that we can take this from here, use that as the alpha, and that's on top. Okay, so it's rougher, sorry, I should say smoother on the bottom. Actually, it's probably more like paper on the bottom, so let's just up that. And then the numbers are going to be slightly more, which is fine. That's the same as the pin as well. So actually what might be good at this stage here is to separate this out. So box again. Just do a new shape. Change the scale of this and probably get a transform and make sure this is absolute. And then we want to blend this on top of it, but before that, oh no, that's fine. And then we want to do a max lighten, but we want to scale this down. We want to move this all the way over here. And I want to put that into there. Cool, that's great. And then move it that way. Seems good. Brilliant. And oh man, right. So we also need an alpha in here, which is this. There we go. And then you can see there's a tiny bit of difference. But that is all we need. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so that's the roughness. So that's the dial back, and then we need to blend that. Well, we need two things from here, so right, oh man, right, so let's copy, actually let's not copy it, let's get another blend. Blend that onto the alpha. Yeah, I do need on that one. Let's just blend these two. Okay, so we actually need that to be pumped up. Great. It needs to be the same colour. So what if we put that into there? Okay. Okay. And then we also now want that to be influenced by this. So maybe. Swap them. No, so yeah, that does need to go in there. Okay. Just some layering. Let's just move these out of the way. And then I want a slightly shinier area. On this back end.
There's nothing to go in a pork salad tomorrow.
In the what?
There's nothing to go in our salad tomorrow.
Oh well, just might have to go and get a sandwich.
No, it's okay.
And you know it's not the end of the world if I can't cover this up, but it would be really annoying. I can do a histogram scan. Yes! Okay, so something like that. Let's up the contrast. Like so, and then I also want that blur back. There we go. Oh, fucking love Substance Designer. Let's get rid of that because we don't need it. I'll make this a bit visually, well, better. Copy this, and we'll just make this slightly dark. I'll change the wrong one I have. Okay. And then same as before, we use a blend. That there, so that's what we get. And really what we should do is, so I actually need to plug in there. So that's the base, that's the top. We do darken, copy. Somehow and inverse them. That might do it. Seems alright. What if we just blur this ever so slightly? Got a bit of a rim to it, but might be alright. Oh no, it's better like that. Cool, okay, so that's our roughness information, and then we just plug this in somewhere here. And then we can tone these down, like so. I know this seems like a lot of work for one dial, but the beauty of Substance Designer is that we can use this for other projects once it's set up, and we can use this as a basis for our other dials. And we can tweak things, like we were tweaking the roughness just then to get, like, you know, something shinier than the others, which is pretty cool. And you just don't get that when you're editing images straight from the internet. Okay, so now we need to get the base colour working. I'm just going to have some cake because I'm starving. Oh, there's hard bits of some description in the cake. Not sure I like that. I don't really like surprises like that in cake. Cake's meant to be soft. But that is tasty chocolate cake. I ain't gonna lie. Okay, base colour, so gradient into this. And this is gonna be interesting. So what might be better actually, instead of using a gradient for the moment is a colour. And let's just make this kind of a, you know, I want it to fit in what we're making, so maybe that's the paper colour at the base, and then we need some more colour, so this will be like a creamy, maybe slightly darker. Okay, so we want, again, blend, background, dials, and then we want to grab this. Cool. And then we need the needle now, so need the same colour. Okay, so to blend that in with that. Yeah. But actually we'll probably need to break it down further. We need this thing in here, so that's fine. Another blend. Actually, no, don't want that one there. We want to just blend this with another colour. So, then we blend this with this. Okay. And then we looks like it's under. Is it under? No, it's not under. That's fine. Then what I also want to separate out is do another Instagram scan. Instagram scan. Histogram scan. Almost at the end of the playlist. I've done some small things in Designer, but not that much. Very education stuff about substance design. Educational stuff. Ah, cool. Well, glad that I can help. There we go. Just want that bit. And then same kind of thing. Use that in there. And then we use this to sample that. Probably make it a bit darker. Like so. And then actually what we can do here overlay these on top of each other, they sit in the right place, then we overlay that on the main one, and there we go. Actually, I might just tone this down. Also, what we can do, so there we go. Pretty ace. Oh, also we need to change the metallic stuff, so probably grab this and just put this into metal. So only the metal is on the bits that we need. we also, shit, first of all need to save that. We need to, I just want a noise, so like clouds 3, clouds 2 might be good actually. Put that into a gradient node, then put that onto the base of this. Basically, just to break up the surface. Just something like that, maybe, and just slightly subtler. You know, it just helps make the surface feel a bit more real. Yeah, and that is all we need to do, really. I'll tell you what though, maybe it's better like that, to be honest. Let's just punch that up slightly. And what we can also do, which would be quite nice in the roughness, is do a similar kind of thing. Again, just to make it feel a bit more real, we just overlay stuff in the roughness to break up the surfaces. So something, it doesn't have to be that much. I mean, maybe even clouds 3 might be alright. Okay, so it's this, breaking all that. Okay, so if we blend this with this and do like a multiply, and also grab the alpha. Might be worth just okay, so we're getting some oddness there. I'm guessing that one of the opacities isn't working that well. Well, actually, it might be better if we blend that in with there. We need this. First of all, we need a histogram scan. There we go. Might be a bit too subtle, but just helps make it feel a bit more real. And also I want to, on the metallic, where's that? Is that the metallic? Yeah, so on the metallic, blend this with this. And then this also needs to be not as rough. It's quite hardcore, this music. I have to move it on. Let's put this on. Okay, AO we need. We don't need. Color information, that's fine. What else? So we've done the base color, done the normal, done the height, done the broken up the roughness. I suppose AO is what's next. Again, it's not really essential for this, but just quite nice. Oh yes, it was that dial, wasn't it? So that looks all right there. Looks okay there. Okay, so it's there, which is the problem. So maybe we just need an Instagram scan here. There we go, and that is that sorted. Okay, so let's just organise this a bit better. Okay, so move those in. Call this diffuse. And there we have our graph. Yeah, so I suppose you could work out kind of, is it going to be easier to just take something from the internet, but then you're relying on the image being as good as it can be. But then if you want to change anything, how easy is it to change? Whereas now we can probably just modify this graph to create different dials. Because they're all variants on the same thing. Yeah, so I think I will crack on with these tomorrow, because I've got some time, and maybe get all my dials done. But let's just save that and get this in. So let's export. What do I save it out as like some sort of... No, I need to... Yeah, select folder and save all, and then I need to bring them all in together and stamp them. So I will need an opacity after all. Went in. Cool. Export that. And then we also want to come back into here. This is quite a big dial. We'll have it on the furthest right. So then if we go to dials, okay, so really we want that to be in a folder. Black mask. I'm going to copy this mask, paste it into this mask, put that in there, get rid of one. Cool, so that's the base. And then I want to stamp on that detail now. So color, height, rough, metal, normal. That's all we need. Yeah. And we're gonna have to do this. I don't know, let's just import everything and just see what it looks like. Okay, so we've got all of those. Texture apart from, where is it? Exported it. Add resource, opacity, put that in alpha, port. Okay, so now, roughness. This could prove interesting. Maybe it's better saved it as a smart material. I don't know. overkill. Let's take those off. Just might just pull the normal back on. Oh, so quite a lot of effort for something you never see. Great. That's classic John. Not looking at really what he's doing, and also these things could do with way more resolution. I think also if we put the height back on, stamp it, and then if we go into the height information and then just turn this really down, we get a little bit of something, but not much. Actually, that doesn't look too bad. Admittedly, I think it does need more resolution, but then if we're only seeing it from here, that's quite nice actually. I quite like that. That's worked out quite well. Yeah. Great. Really happy with that actually. Cool. Save that. Have some cake. Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to save the dials till tomorrow. I will get all of those done tomorrow, because I can imagine they're not the most interesting things to watch. Maybe, you know, educational, but a little boring. And they're all going to be, you know, slightly different from the other, so probably not that interesting. So what would be cool now is oh yeah, the leather. Let's look at that. Because that's what we were doing before. Base colour, leather. And then let's turn that back on. Get this guy back on. I think things might just need to be a little more exaggerated. It's not too bad. Maybe it's... So what's influencing the roughness? Okay, this one, this one, this one. It needs a just something further to break it up. It needs to be smoother than that. Looks more plasticky now. It's not. So subtle differences, great. I think I'm just super chuffed with my dial. But yeah, more resolution, so we can, you know, fill up one space with it. Would be much better. Looking all right. Might be quite cool if we just look at some, like a bleached effect now. some bleaching. It's very subtle, which is kind of what I want. I'll leave it on for the moment. Cool, right, save that. I'm going to call it a night there because I'm just faffing now and I don't need to. So, gonna hopefully next time I see you things will be a bit more progressed. But yeah, have a good day tomorrow, and I will see you soon. Thanks for coming along tonight. Also, any questions, queries, whatever, post your work, throw it in the Discord. That's how I get in touch with most people. So yeah, see you in there, and have a good evening. See you all soon.